Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by Anna Dropkick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Gotta hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the real heavyweight champion.
Gotta be the best of me. It's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the first council of the championship as existed in its current province.
That can was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of TEW 2020 Billy Corgan's NWA. We are here for Starrcade. It should be a great episode. Very excited to run our kinda season finale for the year here. And we're going to be having a lot of stuff happening after the fact. A lot of what's going to happen here is sort of tying up some of those loose ends and starting some new storylines. We've seen some storylines start to culminate now, but we're obviously going to be doing a lot more after the fact. But we got to do some housekeeping first. So one thing we got to talk about is, so I've been trying to keep track of the medallions because we didn't want to make them titles. It makes it a little complicated. Obviously, whoever beats a person that has a medallion gets that medallion, even if it's not a sanctioned match. So we got to try to keep track of that a little bit. I'm bound to make mistakes here and there, though, but that is how it works. Someone had mentioned in the Discord that we actually had a fourth medallion prior to this episode, and no one could remember who had it. So I had to go do some digging. And by the way, if you're not a member of Discord, there's a link in the description. Join. A lot of talk about wrestling, other things, a lot of booking talk. We talk a lot about potential show ideas. So if you want to be involved in kind of helping formulate some potential future TEW saves, that's the place to be. We kind of came up with something that I think we're going to be doing in the future that's really cool. And you can all do that on there, right on our Discord. I'd love to see you guys there. I love hanging out with you guys and talking. And it's the best place to do it. So, I made an oopsie. So I went back into my news and I went to find a match. Looking for, there's got to be a match somewhere that we missed, and we did. We had a medallion match with Matt Cross defeating Ricky Starks and getting our first medallion. Problem is, I did this match already just last week with Eddie Kingston defeating Matt Cross for a medallion. So I don't know if that means that Kingston has two. I guess we'll make him have two. So Kingston has number 3 and number 4. So there's only one more out there in the wild. And then at that point, obviously people will start to be fighting. Basically, once all 5 medallions are out in the wild, generally there'll be some type of match where they will all coalesce together to kind of form a championship. It's almost like the initial medallion always gives you a buy-in to like a tournament of some sort, some kind of like 5-way to coalesce it. But you can obviously get more early. Like if you were to have a match with somebody and you happen to pin them, you're going to get that medallion. So in this case, now Kingston technically has 3, even though Matt Cross should never have been given a second opportunity. That was just a booking error. But it's fine. We'll keep it like this, and because I didn't really have necessarily a grand plan on who all the 5 are going to be, so it doesn't really matter too much. Not that big of a deal. But yeah, so that's some of the first of the booking housekeeping issues. The second housekeeping issue is obviously we know that Chikara has been bought, and that makes me feel like I need to jump on this now. We need to take over CZW. So we're going to do it. We're going to steal them. Let's go over there. Before they go even more in the hole, we might as well just buy them. Attempt to take over. They will agree to discuss it. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a straight takeover. We're not going to pillage. We're not going to disband. Their titles are not worth enough to do it. Their popularity is lower than me. There's nothing worth pillaging. They don't have a training facility. They don't have a broadcaster. You don't have the TV show's useless to us, and their titles are not actually worth that much, except for the Tournament of Death, honestly. But it doesn't really fit with our brand. And their workers, almost all of them, actually, I think every single one of them, I can just hire. So we are going to take over. We're going to run them, and we're going to rebrand them into the NWA formula. And they're going to be our feeder company, I think. So let's do it. CZW has been taken over and is now owned by me. So we now own them, which means if we go into child companies, we could see that we now completely own them. I think we can completely control them. I want to change their name, something like that. We're going to come up with a name because we're not going to be CZW anymore. We're going to let them be CZW right now. But, in the future, we're going to completely rebrand them. We're going to turn them into probably something like Championship Wrestling from Philadelphia or something like that. And turn them into a owned NWA company. Got to make a logo for them and everything. But we will do that a little bit later. Not a big deal. Hyde can continue being a CEO and the booker of the company. It's not a big deal. We could change their product if we wanted to remove the hardcore element. I'm not that concerned right now, though we may want to move them into more of a like a southern like a southern wrestling style, which is sort of closer to what we are. Is there a modern throwback? We had to be careful about it though, because we don't want to necessarily hurt their own momentum. Now, obviously, we also have the problems of having to pay for them, I believe, because obviously they're going to be financially running their own show, and we're going to have to kind of feed in and pay for it. So that's a bit of an issue, but it's not that big of a deal. I wonder if I can move them into our alliance. Let us see. Invite a new member. Join. Clear this search result. And I invite you. Okay, AEW is going to continue to block this. It's fine because we have that relationship. It's not a big deal. We also should probably talk to them and set up some type of relationship. The CZW contact. Trying to remember where to go to have a relationship. It might actually be on the main screen. Let me go to it. So in 2020, you can actually have a bit of a relationship going on between companies. It does not have to be an alliance. So we will negotiate a relationship. We own them. They have accepted to take developmental contract workers from us. Definitely agreements and declare war. We could propose a talent traded as you own. We don't need to. Offer accept workers on excursion. Not that we're going to do excursions, but we might as well. Okay, so CCW have agreed to accept workers on excursion and agreed to accept developmental. We'll adopt a friendly attitude anyways, because they're our buddies here. We don't need to be sister companies. That's kind of silly. But basically, we own them now. They could take our workers if we need to send them away for a bit, and they will take our developmental people and train them. Now, financially, this is going to cause some, not necessarily problems, but it's going to be something that we're going to have to understand, because I think we are going to have to pay for their financial issues. So that's going to throw a wrench in the works in terms of how we go forward, but I think we'll be okay. Overall, I don't think we're going to be running into that many issues where we are going to be in a financial lurch due to them. We may have to help them a bit. You know, what's their schedule looking like? They have a TV show once a month on Saturdays, the only show that they do. That's interesting. The show quality is actually not that bad, 51. I almost feel like I should send them a person to help them out. And they have some shows going on. Okay. We're going to turn off all their house shows. That's probably where they're spending most of their money that they just do not need. Ticket pricings, normal is fine. Broadcasting Dale, Vivid Chill. Okay, so I think that will help them out for now. For now, we were just, the initials will be NWA CCW, but we're going to change them completely. So that should be fine. I kind of wish we were able to see their financial issues from here. I don't know. We might have to go to their company, which is fine. We could do that. So CZW tour company, view profile. No money right now. So what were they? So we are going to absorb any of their losses at the end of the month. They were losing about $9,000, $10,000 a month about. Where was that coming from? So sponsorship income is very poor. Part of this has to do with probably their hardcore style. Just is not much. Their contracts we can look at too, to see where the problem is. AR Fox we're going to just take. So I think we can let them go from CCW and we're just going to steal them. And that's probably the most expensive. Yeah, everybody else is very inexpensive. So why don't we do that now? We manage their roster here. AR Fox. We're just going to take him. Oh, he's already on our roster, so we don't need to. Fine. Everyone's very upset by the idea. No, we'll let them stay there. We're gonna have to manage their financials, though. We really have to take a look at what's going on there, because we do not want to we don't want to run into a situation where we're taking on too much financial hit, too much of a loss from them. But for only $10K a month, it's not going to be a big deal, because we were making like $38K, period. We might not this month anymore, but that's because of the cost of purchasing this for the investment. It's not really the end of the world, but so, we might end up just breaking even, but it'll be fine. One thing we do want to check to make sure there is no conflicts with Starrcade. After that last nonsense, Phoenix and Luke Gallows both are on CM. This shouldn't be a problem, because I think since CMLL is smaller. Oh wait, no, there it is. No, we have no conflicts at all. So that should be perfect. But I think even if this was a situation like Phoenix was available, he will join us instead, because we are a bigger company. Luke Gallows, who's signed up with BJW, also would have been here, but because he is a goober, he decided to do an excursion in New Japan, and they are bigger than us, therefore they got the priority, which was annoying, but that is fine. Not a big deal. All right, let us move on to Starrcade, and let's get our big show underway. Oh boy, we got some mail here. Let's see what's going on. That's fine. Contract expires for ACH. He is gone. Some of our other contracts are going to be slipping out now, which is good. And I think we're just gonna pick up Tyler Breeze. I was really happy that he showed up. Let's just take him aboard. I think we definitely have some use for him. I think I could think of a stable that we might be able to maybe make a character for him for. That could be kind of fun. We might have to change his name again. So I kind of like the idea of taking his real name and then his fake name and kind of, combining both of them. It's kind of fun. Oops, that did not go through. Sort of a slightly realistic tradition here of WWE names, modifying them in some capacity. Oh, I don't want to make a duplicate. I just want to use it. There we go. We also need to change his gimmick. Old school heel's not good enough. Weasley Underdog is fine. I think what he needs to be is a sleazy Vegas entertainer. There we go. So we're removing the male model gimmick. We're going for a slightly different direction here. And I could think of a group of people that he might fit in perfectly with, which I think we'll do. Maybe not in Starrcade, but I think that is A-okay. We'll set him to debut that gimmick, no problem. That'll be fine. Absolutely fine. So our actually go to our roster here real quick. For contracts, I think a bunch of people are about to expire. Yep. We need to up this actually. Ugh. It will not matter for tonight, actually, because they are, I don't think that will matter, because they are not 3 days, we're fine. Yeah, that's not a problem. Okay. So, whoever gets the contract, can I force? No. Okay, I'm going to have to end this tournament here. But we know it's Lucha Bros versus FTR. That is fine. Whoever wins that tournament is going to get the second shot contract. So either Lucha Brothers stay around or FTR stay around. And then whoever does, we will have to change and adjust their contract if it's expiring or not. I don't think we would have to worry about that if Lucha Brothers expire, because I think I have them on an ongoing contract when I first signed up for them. But I'm not 100% sure. I should probably take a look at that. Phoenix. No, 2 days. So both of them are on the same contract length, which I think we originally did 3 months. That's fine. Whoever wins, we just hire them back for the next week. Because we got the show tonight, which will be no problem. Let's go ahead and let's get to it. Got some more people ditching. Gallows, Anderson, and Marquand gone from NWA. Should not be an issue for us. All right. We have to set our broadcaster. It's going to be Fight TV. do have a backstage incident to go through. I think just protege issue. Yep. Not a big deal. We will open forum. I know some people are upset. Give them an opportunity to just kind of voice their concerns a little bit. Perfect. Should not be an issue for us. We are going to be in our own arena again. We're expecting 878 fans. Pretty good showing, people. So we will still use our same venue. It's going to end up selling out likely. So we lose some potential, but I don't think like 40 people is worth investing in a larger location. And the sellout will actually give us a little bit of a buzz anyways. So not a big deal. Yeah, that'll be absolutely fine. Cool. So we got a bunch of storylines we have to conclude. We got a big main event, which I actually still don't know how it's going to go. Honestly, I'm not sure yet. Obviously, we got a pretty good match coming up for a bunch of stuff. But should be pretty fun. Pretty good show. We got a long show to run. It's 180 minutes. We didn't do a super long one just because we don't have the roster depth for it. We would have to put everybody on, and it just wouldn't look that great. But I think it'll be a pretty good show. So let's go ahead and let's book it and see how Starrcade turns out for us. Alright guys, we got 223 minutes to go through. This is packed. Actually, this was a perfect amount of time because I think almost everybody on the roster were used except for some odds and ends. With no pre-show matches, I guess I technically could have done pre-show to get some of those odds and ends, but most of them don't actually work here, so it's fine. Stack card, every belt on the line. Should be interesting to see how this goes down. This is a very weird show, but I think it leads to some very interesting places for the NWA after this. So without further ado, let's get into our Starrcade. And we start, as tradition, with a Battle Royal. It's just a great way to start a show and get everybody on the roster that's not actively being used an opportunity to kind of fight. And we got some interesting dynamics here because we have Kingston, obviously, is a favorite. We have some tag teams in here as well as Warhorse for some reason. So not quite sure how it can go down, but ultimately it has decent wrestling, does not have much heat, works the crowd. We have a debuting, well, not quite debuting because it was debuted last week, but Matthias Breeze, our Tyler Breeze, wins the Battle Royal in 12 minutes. The final four were Connor, Caleb Connolly, and Matt Cross, with Connor being the final elimination, and Kingston getting the most eliminations over the course of the match before being tag teamed and thrown over. Unfortunately, the sleazy Vegas entertainer gimmick gets a poor rating for Matt here. We do advance the storyline of the Smoking Aces, and for some reason, the Grand Slam of Danhausen. I think it's because Warhorse is in here. So, 51 is actually not that bad overall. It gets the show off to a good start. Gives our new debuting member of the NWA a good win early on. Not too bad. Afterwards, actually, this does better than I thought it would. This match that's going to come up is going to do horribly, but it's fine because it needs to happen. God damn it. So, Danhausen has a video, and it plays on the screen, and he is outside in a parking lot, and he's trying to explain his Grand Slam Lumberjack Championship match. He goes, "Hello, a title like this is very much important. It needs to be defended properly. So, introducing, and he kind of moves the camera over a little bit. Ta-da! The Lumberjack Grand Slam Challenge. The arena, loosely put, is a Denny's parking lot with a poorly, probably hastily assembled ring in the center, with a scaffold around it holding up a title, which would be the Grand Slam Championship, with a ladder at the center of the ring, with a borrowed by Home Depot logo plastered on it, in case anyone were trying to steal it. Around the ring is random plunder and other backyard essentials like lawn chairs, and also a kiddie pool with a substance that appears to be maple syrup. A small crowd of people, of Denny's patrons, surround the ring, all looking very confused, but are holding what appear to be various colored plastic wiffle bats. And Danhausen explains 5 competitors face in the ring, starting with Danhausen, and with timed entrances. They enter, we fight, and the champion climbs the ladder and retrieves the belt. If you exit the ring, bad stuff can happen, like get hit in the gonads by this guy here with a bat. Yes, very cutting-edge match. He also pulls someone over in a Denny's uniform, and he goes, "This is Larry. He's the general manager of this Denny's. And if I win, everybody gets to eat here for free for 24 hours. In which Larry goes, "Wait, what?" Before the video cuts out. So a lumberjack match, kind of weird, cinematic, hardcore comedy match involving Danhausen. With our product and with the people we have, this match will go very poorly. Very, very poorly. But it must happen, so we must endure. Segment gets a 49. His entertainment is good. Got the crowd hotter, only to be let down by the travesty that will be happening soon. But before that, we have the Cult of Josephus versus Ace Austin, Jarek 120, and Zicky Dice, the Smokin' Aces, which they should be labeled that. I don't know why they're not labeled that, because they are stable. It's a decent match. Ace Austin actually gets the win, and defeats the Cult of Josephus in 13 minutes. Ace Austin pinning grounded Gordon with a house of cards. In terms of in-ring work, Brody was the dominant one above everybody else. Jarek struggling to keep up. Overall gets a 53. Grounded had a 44. Colt had a 49. Brody had a 64. Zicky Dice had a 46. Jarek had a 34. And Austin had a solid 54. And we do advance the Smoking Aces storyline. Ace Austin benefited from having a hot new move, and it got the crowd hotter, and we give the Smoking Aces a win over the Cult, even. Afterwards, Josephus, who was at ringside, was not too pleased, and after seeing the loss, makes a motion to Brody Lee, who proceeds to brutally attack Flip Gordon, and leaves him on the ground for dead as the Cult departs. Seems that grounded Gordon has been ousted from the Cult of Josephus and is left to the wayside. Gets a 41. It doesn't do too bad, but it's not anything special to talk about. After that, we... It's a 1. It's a 1. Amazing. I've never seen a segment so low. I expected like a 10 or a 20. I've never seen a 1 before. It's amazing. That's perfect in so many ways. And it describes this storyline so well. A bout that did not have much heat had terrible wrestling. Danhausen defeats Mark Sherman, PCO, Royce Isaacs, and Ricky Ruffin in a Denny's Lumberjack Grand Slam Challenge in 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Danhausen retrieved the item and makes defense number 1 of the Denny's Lumberjack Grand Slam Championship. And Danhausen was heads and shoulders above everybody else. Everyone was about 20s in their in-ring performance. The match type was extremely poor for this audience, and the cinematic style approach completely backfired. In a match was a self-indulgent mess, but it did do its job. It gave the crowd a breather, which is good, but it kind of won. Oh, man. So Danhausen is still our lumberjack Grand Slam champion. It's fine. He's probably not going to be allowed to do this match again anyways, so we had it happen. Jesus. We have a women's tag match between Thought Crimes and Kimberly and Ashley Vox. Just giving them something to do. We give Thought Crimes another win. They defeat the team of Kimberly and Ashley Vox after pinning Ashley Vox after a Hellbound. Not much to say. We know about their in-ring performance is fine. Overall, Kimberly's actually just slightly better in in-ring performance. Both of them do fine. We gain heat with the storyline. Got the crowd hotter. And ended up with a 46. So, not too bad. And obviously Thought Crimes continues to show their dominance in the women's division. And we got Lucha Bros versus FTR. This match actually underperforms a little bit. I kind of expected it to be a little bit better. But it had a superb wrestling and great heat. FTR do defeat the Lucha Brothers in 19 minutes. Cash Wheeler pins Phoenix after a Shatter Machine. Match gets a 59. Pentagon had a 72. Phoenix had a 68. Cash had a 53. And Dax had a 60. Good chemistry all around. And of course, that means that FTR are now the winners of the Second Shot tournament and will be getting a contract with the NWA. It was kind of obvious it was going to happen. They fit the NWA aesthetic so well with that sort of Southern style, old school approach. They needed to be here. And since in our universe right now, they're not hired anywhere else, we might as well scoop them up. That doesn't mean you will not see Pentagon or Phoenix potentially in NWA at some point, but as a tag team, they will not be. I can tell you one of them will probably be joining us. Just like how AR Fox is now here, but ACH is not. Just because they are not joining us as a tag team doesn't mean we can't bring them over. Things can happen. It's not a big deal. Just means that they're not going to get it right now. 35 for this segment. The overness was a little bit low, so this kind of impacted it, which is kind of a shame. In our tables match between Contra Unit and the Von Erichs, a surprise upset. The Von Erichs defeat Contra Unit now for the second time, this time in a tables match. I don't know why it's a elimination match. It shouldn't be, but for some reason the tables match is set up as that. But we'll ignore that because it's not actually how it's supposed to go. It was a regular tables match. Joey Machete got eliminated. So Joey Machete loses the match for them. Most of it had to do with a run-in with Kevin Von Erich, who distracted the whole thing, ended up attacking Jacob Fatu, and causing the whole ordeal, which allowed Machete to get thrown through a table. Fatu had a 60, Machete had a 36, Von Erichs had 48 and 43. We have some issue with the Von Erichs face-heel divide, which we actually probably should have set them as turning, because very clearly we're having them kind of turn heel during their reign. And we probably screwed that up and just didn't put that on there. We gained heat for the Von Erichs Legacy storyline, though. Got the crowd hotter. This was actually like a hardcore match and actually worked okay. I think I had for booking details it actually be set as a hardcore. Does not. Oh, this was just a regular match. So it wasn't necessarily a hardcore, but it was regular match. Did well. 47. Not much to say about it, but did okay. And we have after the fact Jacob Fatu on the ground on the table. Joey Machete on the ground on the table. Jacob Fatu goes up to him and looks like he's about to hit him in an attack, but instead grits his teeth and helps him up. Seemingly a little bit of a minor fracture within the Contra unit. The first match that they had, Machete was the reason Fatu lost, and once again, the distraction of Kevin Von Erich and Joey Machete taking the loss was the reason why they lost their contract or their tournament or their title shot again. So maybe a bit of a fracturing, some inner division going on between the two of them. But Fatu seems to come to his senses, and better heads prevail, and he picks up his partner. Gets a 45, nothing to say about it. It's fine. After that, we got a women's division match. This is really just a platform for Thunder Rosa to get a win and get the other women on the match. And it's also a breather. It's just there to kind of cool things down a little bit. It does okay. It's little heat, but had decent wrestling. All of them did actually pretty well in this match. Thunder Rosa winning after a reverse DDT, pinning Bianca Corellia. Not much to say about it. It's a 48. Gives Thunder Rosa a win. Gives her some legitimacy if she is the challenge for the title next. Something like that. Just keeping it relevant. And also, we just want to get as many people onto the show as we can, so we do not get any penalties for no reason. It's going to be expensive, but it's fine. In our women's division tournament or title match, we have Tessa Blanchard versus Natty Neidhart. And in this match, we have Natty actually defeating Tessa by submission with a sharpshooter and winning the women's title. This match is a 47. Natty had a 55, and Tessa had a 57. Got the crowd a little bit hotter. Overall, pretty decent. Can't complain about it at all. Afterwards, Tessa just sits in the ring in disbelief after Natty leaves with the title. Kind of looking a little bit dazed, but mostly confused and shocked that she even tapped out in the first place. I think she didn't realize that she reached her limit. And she does a great job in this segment. Crowd totally believes her in this moment, and it's just a moment of humanity in her character for a brief moment, as after having been on top forever with all of her arrogance, kind of being humbled and pulling that off very well. Gets a great rating of 71. Fantastic. In our Alliance tournament or title match, man, I just keep on saying tournament. Can't get tournaments out of my head. It's great heat, good wrestling. Segment was 50, not bad. We have Lance Archer, our Alliance champion, coming out from AEW versus a challenger of AR Fox from our newly owned child company of CZW. Unfortunately, AR Fox does not win. Lance Archer defeats him in 15 minutes after a count out. Lance Archer makes defense number 2 of the Alliance title. Lance Archer sustained an extreme bedhead. Is that a real thing, or is that a joke? So benefited from amazing form. AR Fox had a 49. Lance Archer had a 62. Segment got a 50. I don't know what that means. Apparently it was a botched move. Did he just mess up his hair? Afterwards, we have our just kind of a match finish here of Fox collapsing onto the apron due to just sustaining too much injuries from the match, right on the 9, and gets counted out. So it's to protect Fox a little bit. Archer he went toe-to-toe with Archer for a while. Archer's still dominant, but AR Fox did not get pinned, did not get submitted, and did not get knocked out. He just couldn't get into the ring in time. Allows him to have some credibility, or kind of protects him a little bit. Gets a 48 for the match end. We have our cage match between Eli Drake and Nick Aldis. Obviously, former members of the board of directors led by Nick Aldis. Eli Drake has separated from them and has challenged him, kind of basically insinuating that Nick Aldis made a bunch of promises and it never happened, never kind of coalesced. In this match, we actually have Eli Drake defeating Nick Aldis in 14 minutes with a pinfall from a bottom rung. Got the crowd buzzing. They got great chemistry together, and it worked here. Got the match rating of 58 with a 57 from Eli and a 50 from Nick Aldis. We advanced the storyline here. Pretty good match here. Afterwards, we got Nick Aldis on the ground in the cage. His teammates come over to help him out. They were ringside, obviously, and seemingly disgusted by what happened. We see the boardroom dissolve in front of us as Rowe and Hansen attack Aldis and leave him behind, seemingly destroying Pinky George's board of directors boardroom, and now leaving Nick Aldis solo, and Eli Drake solo, and Hansen and Rowe solo. So the board of directors are now the boardroom officially dissolved, all fallen apart in Nick Aldis' hands. And the segment does okay, 45. In our main event, this match kind of underperformed, actually. Only got a 40. We got Pillman Jr. versus Miro. Had great heat, but just decent wrestling. We actually have Pillman Jr. defeating Miro in 27 minutes by pinfall with a tornado DDT and winning the World's Heavyweight Championship. Pillman took a stunt bump, got the crowd buzzing. We advanced the storyline, a shock upset of Miro losing the title here. Unfortunately, only gets a 40. I really thought this would have been a bigger match here. I think we had it as a spectacle. That might have been an underperformance from us. They might not have had the psychology to really keep up with it, unfortunately. But Pillman Jr. is our champion. He celebrates in the ring. Unfortunately, we had it not as scripted, and apparently he tried to say something on the microphone, and it did not go well off the cuff. But we get a 49, got the crowd hotter to end the show, as he celebrates the 10 pounds of gold that he's been fighting for a while, a fan favorite. And it'll be very interesting to see where he goes from here and how Miro handles the upset loss. Obviously, it just takes 3 seconds to lose, and that was 3 seconds for Miro that he's going to probably be looking to reclaim. But for now, for the end of the night, for Starrcade, Pillman gets a good feel-good closure, and we get a champion that we brought from the very beginning of this show, all the way from the bottom, now at the top, and now it's up to him to see how he can hold on to it. I don't know how this show is going to be. It's a real mixed bag in terms of ratings, but I enjoyed booking this. 48, it's not bad. A little underperforming. Probably this didn't help, but overall, not too bad. We're going to expect a little bit lower when we have less people, or we have so many people on the roster. The quality is just going to be very, very intermittent, but that's fine. Increased our popularity in 23 regions. Let's make a speech. I think we gotta give it to some people here. Let's praise Miro. Let's nobody was upset really. Actually, the only person that was upset was Phoenix, and they ain't gonna be here, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll just give everybody a praising. And where's Ace Austin? There you go. Everyone's pleased. We'll get a little bit of a bump from that. All right, we got some news here. Let's see. Okay, so we have to... Everyone's left, but we need to obviously bring them back. Lance Archer is injured. Don't know for how long. It's unfortunate. And we need to bring them back in. Per show, unlimited appearances, all sounds good to me. And we might have to do that with Cash too, but I don't think we can right now, because he's on a final week of contract. We'll just pull him back in. It's not a big deal. But you know, that is what it is in terms of the weirdness with those contracts. So overall, a pretty good show. Kind of ends some storylines in some weird ways, brings us some new potential elsewhere. We got to see what's going on with the cult. Got to see what Nick Aldis's life is like post boardroom. Got to see what the ramifications of Danhausen's antics are besides bombing the show. We have to see what what Pillman looks like now as the NWA champion. So a lot of interesting new elements to move forward on. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Starrcade. I enjoyed setting it up, and I will see you guys next time.